I'll go in there and I'll go,
It's in your
hola.
contract. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I can only speak in Spanish.
My name's
now.
Chuck, by the way.
How you doing?
Yeah.
So what kind of shots did you want?
You know, have fun, whatever. You do this for a living, I don't.
I'll give
You
you
know
a
better than me.
2 minute,
Okay.
1 minute, and then I'll wrap you, and we'll
Yeah.
start as soon as we have speed.
So that was quick. This stop motion fascinates me because when I kept watching and looking at the background of this movie as it was going on, forgetting about the foreground because the little things that are happening as they're going on there, and then when you explain to me this painstaking process of ending a complete workday with only 2 or 3 seconds of footage.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Well, but that's the amazing thing about the process is that it is a real thing. I mean, the real sets, you know, the puppets are there, they're real, the lighting is all real, all the props are made, and that's the beauty of the process. It's like, you know, it's just made by just such an amazing group of artists, and that's what I think you do feel from it, you know. It's such a, and the technique really hasn't changed since the beginning of cinema, really, so it's there's a real beautiful quality to that.
But what happens though if you're setting it up and so many things are going on? How many people are involved in an average scene?
Well, it depends on you know. I mean, it's kind of like a live action film. I mean, there's the cameraman and they've got a couple of lighting guys, and then it depends on, you know. There's usually one animator working on his particular or her particular shot. I mean, and sometimes where it gets difficult is there's several characters in the shot at the same time.
Have you gotten into situations though where after you've done and hours later or something you find out that something didn't work and you got to go back and do it again? Or?
Well, I think there was a couple of shots that happened, but you know, shooting with digital cameras, the animators can now kind of go frame by frame and kind of see where they're going. You know, so like in the old days, I mean, you just shoot it, you know, not really knowing, and then kind of get it the next day and see what you got. It's gotten a little bit more where you can kind of see where you're going with it. But, you know, it's like a performance. You know, it takes a long time. You know, live action, you can take 2, 3, or 4.
Right.
This, you can't.
What about, how was it different from working on Nightmare to this? I mean, how's it evolved? I know when you said digital, because I don't think you use digital.
Cameras.
And the cameras.
Yeah, but really, I think the only other real major difference on this was the sort of sophistication of the puppets. I mean, a Nightmare, we use a lot of what we call replacement heads, where, you know, you just change heads over for, you know, facial things. This one, all the mechanics were like built in the head. So, you know, because the story was a bit more subtle, you know, the sense of trying
also, the characters, like, they had like robot eyes or something?
Yeah,
or
or like literally you had to stick a wrench in the ear to move the mouth, you know, or to move the you know, the brow and stuff. So there was a lot more sort of sensitivity in terms of how these puppets were.
Now, you had 2 different worlds here, the dead world and the alive world. But I know everything was screwed up in the dead world. I mean, it was like I don't even know how to describe it, but it just like I don't know. Was it the goal, everything to be the opposite?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was sort of symbolic to me of how I grew up, where the sort of society feeling quite repressive, and, you know, like everything in its place, and, you know, everybody put into a category, you know, which is the way I felt sort of growing up. And then the Land of the Dead was sort of symbolically representative of your creative mind, which is much more colorful and much more vibrant and, you know, much more visual stuff going on. So it wasn't meant to be so literal as it was to be sort of that symbolic.
Well, it's a beautiful project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, we saw